I basically spent 5 years of my life when I was a teenager just obsessively studying YouTube, watching YouTube 10 hours a day, obsessing over it. Like if a video got 40 million views, figuring out why, and doing that just literally tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of times to the point where, you know, I was basically just kind of a YouTube loser. And this was back when YouTube wasn't cool. No one in my entire school wanted to make content. I had no equipment. My brother had a really old hand-me-down laptop that I just would kind of steal at night. I didn't have a microphone, I didn't have anything, and I had no one to teach me. So it was a long, brutal process from like 11 to basically when I was 19 years old. Things started to take off a little bit, but every comment was like, get better quality, get better audio. You know, I had to just slowly just build up money to buy the equipment. I had to slowly train myself how to edit, to do the camera, be entertaining, make videos people like. I basically got 100,000 subscribers filming on a hand-me-down iPhone. I don't mind talking to a camera, I find that fun. It's actually more difficult for me to talk to people. There were actual points in my life where my family thought I was mute, which later on in life I learned it's because I couldn't find people I related to and no one around me was obsessed over business and content and the things I was obsessed over. I just didn't know how to speak normal teenager language when I was a teenager. I just couldn't figure it out. It was crippling boring. And my brain would just be like, this is mind-numbing. I want to figure out how we become successful and build a business and stuff like that. I thought I was just like a fucking loser that would never be able to talk to anyone and never know how to speak to anyone. But really, I just learned that there's just certain people that I get along well with, and it's like just a very small section of the human population. But when I'm around those people, life is amazing.
The very first video, weirdly enough, I played this stupid game and some hacker like killed my base when I was 11. And so I uploaded it and my first video got 20,000 views like instantly because it was like all the people that played the game was like, oh shit, you can hack in this game. It's a game called Battle. Yeah, it's a really small game, but I uploaded that and I got 20,000 views. And that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me because then I was hooked from day one. Literally, like most people, it takes hundreds of videos before you get like one view. And somehow the very first video I uploaded at 11 got like 20,000 views. And then I was just like, oh. I fell in love, and I've been hooked ever since. And then, because this was way before YouTube was even a thing. Like, you know, no one was really a YouTuber. Hardly anyone made money. Yeah. YouTube was a thing, but like the partner program wasn't really a thing. No one was making money. And it was definitely back before it was cool. Like when I was doing YouTube when I was 14 and 15, like now, you know, it's cool if you want to be a YouTuber in high school or middle school. Back then, like, no one gave a fuck. You know what I mean? It was like, you're just worried they would try to play your videos in class or make fun of you or stuff like that for it. I mean, it was about as slow as it gets. So like, when I was a young teenager, I was getting no views, had no money, had no equipment. And so for the most part, it was just like, I was just trying to scrounge money so I could buy equipment because I was using my brother's old laptop. And so, like, my first couple hundred videos, I didn't have a microphone. Like, imagine just, like, crackly, terrible voice. And so once I got monetized, I saved up for a few months. Like I told you, I bought a microphone. I can just give you a mile-high history. And I saved up for, like, 6 months. I mean, I was just doing video game videos, and they were terrible. But I saved up. I got a real computer. So now I could actually record the video game in high quality. I have a microphone. I'm, like, 15. And I just kept going and going. Trying to figure out like what are some of like the hot spots. Like essentially up until 18 I had been doing YouTube pretty religiously, but I was making no money. Like this is kind of the turning point was when I graduated from high school, and my whole life I was like, I want to be making enough money by the time I graduated to do this full time, and I wasn't. I was still only making a couple $100 a month. So I graduated high school and my mom was like, either move out or go to community college. And I didn't have enough money to move out, but I hated school with a passion. But she forced me to go to community college, and that was the worst thing ever. Like that made me hate life. Like borderline suicidal. I just can't stand like having to just sit there and listen to this dumb stuff and listen to some teacher read out a book. So what I did was I would act like I was going to community college, but I would just work on videos in my car and edit and stuff like that. And that was kind of when I was just like 15 hours a day, all in. I was like, I'm fucked if this doesn't work. And I had some videos pop off. I couldn't tell you which ones, but I had a month where I made 20 grand because I just had some videos just do really, really well. And then I came home and I was like, I haven't been going to college, and I moved out the next day. My mom almost had a heart attack because she didn't understand YouTube or anything back then, and she was like, man, this guy's gonna work at McDonald's. I wasted all this time. Like I invested 18 years in this. What I get all the time. Even in high school, like you know, I never once studied. I literally wouldn't even take my books home. Like I legit don't think I studied once all of high school at my house. And so we would fight a lot. I didn't have the best grades. And so I would just make videos, and she didn't understand it, especially because back then it was just a whole different world. It wasn't really a thing as a full-time YouTuber and stuff. And so it was a lot of arguments, especially me in like the middle of North Carolina in a small town. I had like horrible acne. I'm you know, especially back then, really awkward. It's like no one, like people would have bet $1 million that I wouldn't be a YouTuber. You know, it makes no sense. But I just like, I have, you know, hyper obsession and I love this. And you take it a step further because I thought, especially if you're like extremely passionate about something at a young age, where most kids aren't, then it's more exacerbated that it's like, you know, I didn't talk to anyone. I hardly had any friends because I was so obsessed with YouTube. As back then, just no one cared. So it's like I thought I was just like I just couldn't hold a conversation with a single person because people would just tell me all you talk about is YouTube, and I would try to talk about something else. But back then I was so hyper obsessed, and I literally just didn't know how to. From like learning how to editing, the pacing of the videos, like ideas, what's going viral, what's trending, what's hot. Especially back then, I had no idea what worked. I mean, I had to like self-teach myself everything, even, you know, frame rate on cameras, coloring of the video, just stuff like that. Most of my growth came actually after I graduated high school. Basically what I did was I somehow found these other like 4 lunatics. 3 of us were college dropouts, 1 was a high school dropout, and 1, I don't know, he just like quit his job. We were all super small YouTubers, and we basically talked every day for 1,000 days in a row and did nothing but just like hyper study, like what makes a good video, what makes a good thumbnail, what's good pacing, like how to go viral. And we just call it like daily masterminds. We would just get on Skype every morning, and like some days like I'd get on Skype at 7 a.m. and I'd be in the call until like 10 p.m. and then I'd go to bed, I'd wake up and I'd do it again. And you know, we'd do things like just take 1,000 thumbnails and see if like there's a correlation to the brightness of the thumbnail to how many views it got, or like, you know, like videos that get over 10 million views is like how often do they cut the camera angles, or like things like that. Like we were very religious about it, and so that's where most of my knowledge came from. Is I just surround myself with these lunatics, and just every day, like we didn't do anything, we had no life. So we all had like 10, 20,000 subscribers when we met. And by the time we stopped talking, we all had millions of subscribers. And we all hit 1 million subscribers like within a month. It's crazy. Because it's like, if you envision a world where you're trying to be great at something, and it's just like you learning and fucking up and then learning from your mistakes. Also, but like, you know, you mess up, you learn from your mistake, you mess up, you learn from your mistake. You in 2 years, you know, might have learned from 20 mistakes. Or if you have like 4 other people who are also messing up, and when they learn from their mistake, they teach you what they learn. Stuff like that. Hypothetically, you 2 years down the road have learned like 5 times more of the amount of stuff. So it just like helps you grow exponentially way quicker. Wow. We're talking like every day, all day, like literally nothing. We had no friends outside of the group. That was your life. Just search MrBeast and Espanol. So we actually, which I'm kind of curious why you don't do this. We do our videws in other languages as well. These are the exact same videos on my main channel, but we pay voice actors to dub over them. We translate the text in the video. So that's, now just, I won't pull them all up. And so, because, you know, if you Google it, it's like only, whatever, less than 10% of the world speaks English. So, and when I realized that, I was like, wait a minute. 90% of the world can't even watch this stuff. Like, we just started doing this like 6 months ago, and it's crazy like how viral some of these videos. We built some system where I don't have to worry about that. Oh, and the final point is, in Spanish, the guy who does my dubs is the same guy who dubs Spider-Man. So, a lot of those comments are like, why does he sound like Spider-Man? Or is MrBeast Spider-Man? When we go into these markets, we get celebrities to do my voice. So then like the local people in the language freak out. So like, Japan's coming up, and I can't say who, but we secured like a giant voice actor from an anime to do my dubs, and I know they're gonna lose their freaking minds. I think I just had the blessing of finding what I loved at a young age. So like, because to get to this level, it takes, you know, a decade. Most people don't find what they love till their young 20s, so they'd be where I'm at in their 30s. I just lucked out and found it when I was really young.
The beauty of YouTube, which I think does it better than anyone else, is the algorithm is so refined where your YouTube account is just what YouTube thinks you'll watch, which is very accurate. You don't even really study the algorithm anymore. You just kind of study what do people want to watch. If you want to get 100 million views on video, you don't go, how can I trick YouTube to serving this to 100 million people? It's just not going to happen. You just think, how do I make something that 100 million people will want to watch? And then YouTube will give it to them with the data tells them that 100 million people want to watch it. If I see an idea, I can just tell like, yes, 100 million people would want to watch that. Or no, like that's more like something that is a little more niche, but it would kill that niche. And then, but that's probably like 10 million views or 20, you know what I mean? We work on videos probably 3 to 4 months in advance. So from start to when they get uploaded, it's probably like 1 to 2 months coming up with the idea, 3 to 4 months working on the idea, and then a couple weeks filming, and then like 3 weeks editing. So probably 5 months from start to finish. 2 years ago, we were spending 100 grand a video. Now we're spending probably 1.5 million a video. For me, it comes pretty easily. It's just, if I don't think the video is great, just don't upload it. I mean, 'cause it's the beauty of not really doing things for money. Like, if I don't think the audience will like it, it's gone. I just don't need a mansion to be happy. I don't need a supercar to be happy. I don't really need anything outside of this. You know, as long as I have a bed and a bathroom, I'm fine. Because of that, I don't have any liabilities outside of the company, so I can just reinvest it all. Because like, I don't have to have the fear of, well, if things don't work out, I can't maintain my crazy lifestyle, or my down payment each month's like 50 grand on my 5 supercars and $100,000 on this giant mansion and insurance and all this other stuff, and I have to maintain 30 maids or whatever it is, you know, the crazy stuff people end up getting into. So to me, money is just fuel to grow the business and help people, and not much else. Beast Burger we launched during COVID, and so this is when restaurants were shutting down left and right. There's lockdowns, like everyone was switching over to delivery. The big driver was we really wanted to just help a lot of restaurants generate extra revenue, because you know, by the time they take home their pay and the delivery apps take their fee and everything, it's not like the profit margins are that great on it. It's more to help other people. Like I haven't taken a single dollar out of it. We just reinvested all over there. With Beast Burger, that's why I'm really trying to figure out how we can get more people eating something like Impossible Meat, or right now we're looking heavily into lab-grown meat and stuff like that. I would personally love to switch over to one of these soon, if we just, but I don't want it to just switch over and then we don't sell any and then it does no good. It's gonna be like Feastables, where people are actually buying it, so it actually makes a change. One thing I noticed is, you know, I could go stand in any Walmart in America and random people come up and ask for a photo, or I could go stand in Target or a gas station, anywhere. It just kind of clicked once we started putting these in retail. Those same people that if I stand there will ask for a photo, they'll also buy our product. I wanted to just make a better for you snack brand, because I think a lot of the stuff out there is just terrible for you. Like for cereal, one of the products I want to do next, right? Like you have the Lucky Charms that are like $2.50 a box, and I mean, God knows how many ingredients are in a box of Lucky Charms. But then you have stuff like Magic Spoon, which is, you know, infinitely better for you and good. Like it's not going to kill you to eat, but it's also like really, really expensive, you know? And so like this is like a perfect example where I want to live in the middle and help bring that high quality, low ingredients, good for you down to more like a $4 or $5 price range and put my brand behind it so people eat it. And if they do that, then I can sleep well at night because it's a net positive. A lot of people still see YouTubers as kind of like a subclass of influencers, or they still just don't truly understand the influence a lot of creators have. In the last 90 days, we've had 300 million unique people watch our videos. That's a lot, and on average for like 40 minutes each. And that's just on YouTube. I mean, if you factor in TikTok and everything else, it's probably closer to 450 million unique people. Our revenue has gone up every single year the last 10 years. My investment is the content here, and any money I take out is usually just to free up time so I can make more content. Not at the point yet, but I kind of literally want to just sell everything I own, minus like a bed, and like just put everything on the bed that I own and just live off of that. I think so many people just are so materialistic, and that's just what they chase, and I really don't want that lifestyle. When you die, why does it matter? You know what I mean? All this like materialistic stuff. I really just want to focus on building the business and helping people, because I feel like that's more what matters in life. You know what I mean?
I think maybe one of the videos we've already made might get 1 billion views. Probably like the Squid Game video with enough time. I mean, it's only a year old and it's already on 300 million, or some of the newer ones we've done have gotten like 100 million views in a month. So those 4 projected over 10 years, because YouTube's not going anywhere. Probably. I'm a firm believer that it's much easier to hypothetically get 10 million views on one video than 100,000 on 100. And part of why it's much easier, in my opinion, is like if you make a really good video, it's just so evergreen and it never dies. Because YouTube, when you open up YouTube and look at the videos, they're just serving you whatever they think you'll like the best, you know? And so if you just make a great video and it's constantly just above every other video, you know, even 2 years down the road, then they'll just keep serving it and never stop, you know, which is why it's much easier to make one great video than a bunch of mediocre ones. One thing you'll find, if you want to gain subscribers, if you want to get views, if you want to make money, almost any metric in this video creation space, if you want something, it all comes back to, okay, well then just make great videos. So instead of like focusing on all these arbitrary vanity metrics, I just kind of focus on the one thing that gets me all that, which is make good videos. And that, I do think we will when they hit 1 billion subscribers. Like, I don't have a plan on going anywhere. Even though we're only on 120 million right now on the main channel, I think like we're doing around 10 million a month now. And YouTube I just don't see it going anywhere. And I don't see any reason why I'd ever get burnt out or quit. Because a lot of people just be like, how much money do you make? You know, it's just something everything's always about money now for when people talk to me. So it's nice. But for the videos I made, for you guys who probably don't follow me too closely, when I had 8,000 subscribers and I was a teenager, I filmed a bunch of videos and scheduled them years in the future. And I said, I filmed one where I was like, "Hi, me in a year." And the video went up a year later. And it was just like, "Hey, I think you'll have 100,000 subscribers." And then I did one where I was like, "Hi, me in 5 years." I was like, "Hey, in 5 years, I think you'll have 1 million." And then one that hasn't come out yet, but comes out in 2 years was "Hi, me in 10 years." And I tried to predict 10 years later how many subs I'd have. That's what he's referring to. And yes, there are some that are scheduled like 20 years in the future. And so if I don't die, I'll just move them up. And I remember, because I filmed these though like 7 years ago, but I remember saying a line like, if I'm dead, then I'm currently just in a coffin and like whatever, blah, blah, blah. And because the only way the video would go up is if I'm not alive. And if I'm not alive, then I won't be able to push back the schedule upload date. So it'll go public automatically.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I have a couple of those. Like if I knew I was going to die of like cancer or something and I had like 3 months to live, I would vlog every day. I'd film so many videos and then I would just schedule upload a video a week for like the next 5 years. So it's like I'm still alive and I would completely act like I'm still alive and everything. And I think something like that would be cool. I don't know why, but I've fantasized, not fantasized, but I've dreamt about that a lot. Like, I don't know, if I only had 30 days to live, what would I do? And for me, I would try to make like a decade's worth of content and schedule upload it so they automatically go public in the future. And so it's just like I never died. I'm just there.
I think living your life chasing like a nicer car and a bigger and bigger box to live in is kind of like a dumb way to go about life. Yeah. I actually, funny enough, I lived in like a super below average home. And I kind of learned why famous people don't live in below average homes, because someone broke in, stole everything I owned. So I had to get a little nicer house for security reasons. But before I was robbed, I mean, like my place was like a little duplex, $700 a month. You get a roommate, it's $360 split.
Right.
Yeah, and just drive a normal car. Well, now I drive a Tesla just because of the, getting off of gas and stuff. We do a lot of stuff for helping people. And so also if I lived in a $10 million mansion while I'm feeding people and trying to help people, also, in my eyes, it's also a little hypocritical as well. So in every area, I feel like it's just better if I just live yeah, I also have some stories about that too. But yeah, because I did have a phase where I did ball out a little bit, and then I realized, like, yeah, this doesn't make me happy.
What did you
I bought an i8, and I also bought some designer clothes, like some $1,000 shirts and stuff like that. Ironically, all of which was stolen when my house was broken into. So it's kind of perfect because I was like, I don't know if I really care about this stuff anymore. And then someone just stole all my expensive shit, and I was like, perfect.
When I open up YouTube on my television, I get the videos I want to watch. I don't know. I don't ever open it and wonder, like, what are these? What are these 10 videos on my homepage? When I click on a video on my suggestion, I don't ever wonder what these are. Like and maybe it's because I'm very adamant about like the kind of videos I watch, and I try not to watch videos that I don't want to get recommended more because that's how I think. But I'm very happy with how it is at the moment. I think one thing though that I just hate with the passion is the comment section on YouTube. It's just so bad. But that I know that's not something that's going to 10x the growth of the platform. But if you think about it, you go to Reddit to read comments, and somehow like usually the top 20 posts on a popular Reddit post are not spam. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever clicked on something on the front page of Reddit and the most upvoted reply to it is like, "Go check out my site right here," and it's like trying to scam you out of $1,000? Yeah. I can't even think of one instance I've ever had that happen. So, like Reddit, it's so nice to click on posts and just see what people have to say. And I almost wish like you had that same feeling when you read the comments on a YouTube video. Instead, it's like it's so many people just copy and pasting, so many bots that just grab the top comment for your previous video and paste it over. So the top comments on every video are the same. And the things that break through that are just scammers trying to get you to give them $1,000 for a free, fake ad. When I upload a video, I usually go to Twitter to see feedback. Like I read my comments and I'll flip through newest, but it's just, I feel like Reddit and Twitter just give me so much better filtered feedback, especially now that with Twitter Blue, because people pay $8 a month. I've noticed like any tweets I get from verified users now, they're usually not just garbage troll takes. Like these are people paying $8 a month. Like they're usually relatively sensible. And so it's been pretty nice. Like after I upload a video, I just go on the verified tab on Twitter and just see what people have to say. And anyways, I live for the day that YouTube's like that. I think Twitter will always be closer to TikTok than it is to YouTube. Like at least in its current form. Like I don't see 20-minute, 1 hour long videos or whatever, even 15-minute videos being watched over there. I see it more as like the short and snappy stuff closer to TikTok. I mean, I think YouTube's going to be YouTube and not much is really going to change, but it's going to keep growing just because, that's just what it does and because it's owned by Google. But Twitter, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things like you can't predict if like, you know, a year from now an economy is going to be in a recession or booming. And I think Twitter's kind of the same thing. One thing's for certain, a lot of things are going to be rolled out, but what's interesting is the longer people watch something, the more likely they are to keep watching. So you don't have to try as hard in the hypothetically back half of a video as you do in the front. Like even right now, we're so deep into this where a lot of people listening are probably just going to keep listening relatively close to the end unless we just have a really boring part of this conversation because they're just in it. They're immersed. And so a big, like to really boil it down to a simple level, you just want to get people where they're immersed in the content and then just kind of hold them there. Like a thing, there's no one like plug and play. Like if Netflix wanted to hire someone to do a documentary, there's probably tens of thousands of people you could hire that have worked on documentaries before. But if you want to hire someone to make super viral YouTube videos, you know, like we do, there's just no one you can really pull from. Like sometimes I'll hire people from game shows, right? And they have all these preconceived notions about pacing and how a video should be. And you have to spend like the first year like breaking all these habits and, you know, and they think they're better than you. Like a lot of people in traditional think they're better and they think their way is better than what we do. And so for me, it's almost easier to hire people that are just hard workers, that are obsessed and really coachable and just train them how to like be good at content creation and production than to hire someone from like traditional, which is the only way to really do it because there's not that many YouTube channels that have scaled up. So it's not like there's a huge talent pool of people who've worked on YouTube channels. So it's easier just to train someone than just pull them from traditional because traditional people just, I don't know, they have all these opinions and things and they just think our way of going about things is dumb. Like, especially some of my other friends that are scaling up their YouTube channels. There's people that will come on and you'll ask them like, what do you want to be doing in 5 years? And instead of saying, oh, I want to be working on this channel, they'll be like, oh, I hope to be working on movies or this or that. And they see like working on a YouTube channel as a launch pad to go into traditional. And it's like, no, like you just don't get this is the end goal. Yeah. This is your career. And so I'm just so tired of having those kinds of conversations. Like I feel like people really should be coming around. Yeah, but the biggest thing is like, what do you want to be doing in 10 years? And if their answer isn't, you know, making content on YouTube or, you know, if their answer is anything like movies or traditional stuff like that, it's like just a hell no. Like it just won't even remotely. Yeah, I mean, ideally, it's like, oh, working here. You know what I mean? It's hard to put it into words, but it's just two completely different ways of going about things. You know, like our videos aren't scripted and, you know, it's a lot more run and gun. And if we hypothetically blow up a giant car or whatever, like you only have one take, you know what I mean? So, and it's not scripted. And so you have to overfilm, overshoot things, overcompensate for like the dumb way of going about it. And a lot of traditional people would be like, well, just plan what you're going to say and just plan the angles. You can cut the cameras in half. You can save 50 grand here. You can save, $75,000 in editing, this and that. And it's like, yeah, but that's not authentic. Like that's, you know, blah, blah. You get it. It's almost so obvious that it hurts to have to like constantly have these conversations, but it's the world we live in. I don't have to think. I can just watch a video and it just screams in my head like this is what should change based on the, you know, million videos I've watched and all these viral videos I've consumed. Like this is blah blah blah, what's optimal and things like that. It's almost like your brain's like a neural net, and like if you consume enough viral videos and enough good content that you just kind of start to like train your brain to like see it and see these patterns that happen in all these viral videos. And so that anytime I watch a video or a movie or anything, I just can't stop thinking about what is optimal. And so it's like, it gives me a headache sometimes when I watch something too slow or I don't think is optimal. Obviously, my taste isn't the end all be all. But that's something that kind of torments me, if that makes any sense. But and that's not to say slow movies are bad. Like there's an audience for it. It's just obviously not what I've trained my brain to like. And in social media and YouTube right now, like that's just not the meta. Basically, there are ways you can kind of see like the most viewed videos on YouTube every day and stuff like that. And I just kind of consume those every single day. And I've been doing that for way too many years. And you just start to notice patterns. Like the thumbnails on the most viewed videos or videos that go super viral tend to be clear, tend to not have much clutter, tend to be pretty simple. Titles tend to be less than 50 characters. Intros tend to be this. Stories tend to be this. And you just kind of like, after you see those thousands and then tens of thousands of time, it just starts to click in your head. Like, this is what it looks like, right, you know? The answer is whatever makes the best video. Because the problem is the more, which I have so many friends who are like this, they'll make like checklists for their editors. They'll make, you know, this beat and this beat, and you need to have like a 3-part arc and then this. But the problem is that's how you, the more constraints you put on the team, the more repetitive and less innovation you get. And the more like, you know, after 10 videos, people are gonna be like, all right, I've already seen this. So to me, and I'm 24, and I'm probably, my mindset will change over the next 10 years. I just haven't been in this industry too long, but the only way to like really make innovative content and keep things fresh is to not put constraints on, or put as little as possible. And so that's why I'm very hesitant on all that stuff, because the more I say, the more they're gonna be like, oh, then that's what we do. And then, I'll say one time like, oh, ideally there's a cut every 3 seconds. And then next thing you know, every video, there's a cut every 3 seconds or whatever. So it's hard, because I try to give as little not training, but as little facts or as possible, and more just make suggestions. When I'm looking at the camera, I don't see a camera. I'm like in a haze, picturing what the viewer is seeing when they watch it. If that makes sense. And that's where I'll be saying things and or doing something, and then like when I'm watching, I'm like, that's not what I want, and then I'll freeze up. It's very weird when I'm filming, and for people who haven't worked with me too much, they'll think like, I don't know, it's very weird, like how I go about it, because I'll just be doing whatever, like lighting a firework. All right, this is a $1,000 firework, and I'll go to light it, and I'll like freeze, because in my head I'm like, this, I don't know, I don't like how that flowed or how that shot looked, because it's weird. I can perfectly picture what I'm filming by just looking at the camera and then putting myself through the lens of the camera while making content. I can do it at the same time. So it's weird. I've never been nervous talking to a camera. It's harder for me to talk to a person than it is to talk to a camera, which I feel like a lot of people say that, though, that are whatever, make content, right? It's so much easier. I prefer it a million times over, but that's my whole life, so it's just, that's why it's interesting. I work so well off of inspiration. It's like, that's something space. Yeah, like I went to space. What happens if you blow up a nuke in space? Or I went to the moon, I went to Mars, right? Because you said that one word, it was able to inspire me to come up with 4 ideas. And so that's just, it's, for me, the way to get 100 million views on videos, you need something original, creative, something people really need to see, ideally never been done before, all these like things. And so you need like, if you want to consistently go super viral, you need just a constant stream of ideas. And the only way I've really found that I can consistently come up with 100 million view videos is to intake inspiration and then see what my brain outputs. And so that's kind of at its core foundation what I'm doing there. It's just like intaking a lot of random inspiration to see what spawns in my mind, so I can, if someone reads it, are they like, do they have to watch it? Is it just so intrinsically interesting that it's just gonna fuck with them if they don't click on it? You know what I mean? Ideally, it's a title also that because the titles don't live in a vacuum, right? So it has to lead into the content. So ideally, the title represents content that you would want to watch for 20 minutes. So if it's a 20-minute video and the title is "I stepped on a bug," it's not gonna, because it's all of it combined. The click-through rate is going to be much lower than if it was like a 5-second video. People might click it. So you gotta, like, even nuances of the length of the video based against the title will affect whether people want to click it, because sometimes they just don't add up. I mean, it's that. Yes, ideally you want it below 50 characters, because above 50 characters on certain devices, you run the chance of it going ... So like, I took a light pole and I saw how many dollar bills I could stack on top, and they would just go ... because it's too long and it can't finish it. And that's the worst thing, because then people don't even know what they're clicking on. And so it's going to do even worse. Short, simple, ideally, and just so freaking interesting, they have to click. And it is a good segue into the content, and it represents the length of the content. Interesting thing is with Beast Burger and Feastables, that there's physical goods as opposed to like making mobile games or PC game, whichever one we end up doing, which is software. And I actually have a giant international audience. Like most of my audience is obviously outside of America. And so the problem we're running into is it just takes time to build up the supply chain and get Feastables in Southeast Asia, get Feastables in India, get Feastables in Brazil and Mexico and all these other places where we have giant pockets of our audience. And same thing with Beast Burger. It's going to take probably years, unless we partner with someone who already has the distribution, which we're figuring out. But the beauty of software is I can make a hypothetical game or whatever we end up doing, and all my fans can, use it tomorrow, the day I mention it. And so if I promote something in a video to 100 million people, and it's like basically like a game, they can all download it. So they're, but if I promote a Feastables bar, right now it's only in America, because we're struggling just to keep up with American demand. We haven't even gotten the chance to go outside America. So I alienate a majority of my audience, and it feels so shitty to just mention something that most of them can't buy. But on the flip side, you can't just spawn this crazy infrastructure and just have tens of millions of bars and all your products in every single store across the world before you promote it. So you can't put the egg before the chicken. And so it's like that's what I'm excited about. I want to get into less physical stuff and more stuff that everyone out is can actually. I end up, getting bit in the butt because of what I'm saying now. But I think, just like with YouTube, I just want to obsess over making a great product and things that I think my audience will love. And I think as long as I keep that as my North Star, it'll do well. Yeah. I mean, if the goal was to just be worth $100 billion, yes. I mean, my goal, I'm a broken record, is to make the best video possible, because I know whatever else I want will come, obviously. To path to $100 billion is keep getting 100 million views a video. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, or more. Exactly. If we can keep growing. But, if we can keep Feastables growing, right? And we eventually expand international, and one day we're in 100,000 retail locations, and we're selling the same amount of SKUs or units per SKUs like we're currently doing. I mean, that would crush. And then obviously, ideally, one day we open up hundreds of Beast burgers. We get it where we churn out, like Supercell, a couple hit games. I don't want to make dozens or hundreds of games. I just want to make games that are just great. And, we rarely drop them. What we do, they're bangers. And just, whatever other stuff we end up doing. All that combined, I mean, it's just interesting because, like, what's a show that's pulled 100 million views per episode, basically, like we're doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Super Bowl gets praised because they get 100 million viewers, but I can't think of a show. Maybe in reruns or something. Like, I don't have a network tell me what to do. I don't have anyone. Like, I can do whatever I want. So it's a very interesting position because I put out content and 100 million people show up. And then I also have a gaming channel. I put out content and 15 million people show up. And I have a React channel. I put out content and 10 million people show up. And I have a TikTok and I put out content and on average 20 million people show up. And so as long as I can keep that going and then we build these businesses, it's honestly pretty scary to see what will happen, over the years, because Feastables launched, last year, 2022. So it's a relatively new thing. And Beast Burger, we just started scaling up the physical side. And we haven't obviously even launched any mobile games yet. So I think I'm at the antithesis of it. I don't see a world where my YouTube channel is irrelevant in the next couple of years. This is what I live for. And so if I can keep that going and then really start to expand these businesses that leverage off of it, then yeah, I mean, hopefully there's a day where I can give away $1 billion in a video, honestly. Yes. Once you can take care of your health, you can take care of any immediate dangers, and you can take care of your family relatively. Yeah. So once you take care of those basic necessities, so we'll say make over hypothetically $1 million. No, it really doesn't. Like adding an extra zero, going from 10 million to 100 million or whatever it is, makes no difference. Yeah. Well, let me reframe. I guess it could for some people if you really, I don't know, you spent your whole life obsessing over cars, it probably would bring you a little bit of joy to buy a nice Lamborghini. I'm coming more from the frame of mind of an entrepreneur, someone who's really obsessed with business building. For me and a lot of my friends and the people I hang around, what brings us happiness is winning and building companies and changing the world. Like that is fun. It's a complex problem you can wake up every day and it gives you something to obsess over and devote your life to, where it's just having money doesn't, Honestly, a lot of my friends are like Chandler. I played Little League with him. And Tyler, the guy, I went to school with him. Chris, he was my first subscriber. Carl was here after we got big, but whatever. He's just friends with the boys. And it is a lot of my closer friends, even like my YouTube friends, I knew before I was big. So maybe there is some merit to that. Maybe it is. I don't know. I've never really put too much thought into it. Maybe there's a reason I hang around a lot of these people I knew before I got big, because it's much easier. Well, one thing you'll also find when you get rich, not even richer, but more famous. One thing I thought is, as I climbed this ladder of YouTube and got bigger, I thought there would be tons of people like me, that take the kamikaze approach to building a business. Yeah. You throw all your money in it, you throw all your energy, you throw everything. You're just fuck it. It's this, or I'm dead. I thought there would be hundreds of me, and there isn't. There's maybe one or two. And I talk to those motherfuckers every single day. I'm sick and tired of talking to them, but I love them. But it's just so interesting because every level I got up, I'd get 1 million subscribers. I'd be like, all right, where's all these guys with the 1 million subscribers that are fucking psychopaths? And then, especially as they get bigger. Yeah. And, 20 million subscribers, 30. It's every step of the way, it's I just got more and more lonely, to be honest. So it sounds cliche and you hear that kind of shit in movies and you're like, oh, that's not how it works. But it is. There's just not many people that just want to give up everything, go all in, and obsess over making the greatest goddamn videos every single day of their life. They're really hard to find. Yeah. Or the people doing it, they're on just a small scale. And if I talk to them, it's just 99.9% of the time I'm teaching them things. And it's not what I was expecting. I was expecting there to be a lot of people like me. Right, and that's why I found right now, a lot of the people I relate to don't even make YouTube videos. They're just I'm veering more and more away from fellow content creators and more to just I'm just looking for those other people who just share a little bit of it, so I don't feel so fucking crazy all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like people I feel normal around, and they tend to just be doing the randomest things. Yeah. But you have to be careful giving this advice, because they're like bodybuilders who will be like, just go to the gym, be disciplined. I'm disciplined, go to the gym. I would argue for those people, it's like, it's not even discipline. They just enjoy weightlifting, right? Because there are people who are jacked, but they don't make much money or run a business, right? If they were that disciplined, they would be hitting every area of their life. They just really like business. And then there's people like me who just, to an extreme level, love building companies, right? It's not even discipline for me. It's just in my blood. It's what I wake up. I don't think about it. I don't push myself. I don't need to watch a fucking motivational video to go work. I just do it. It's programmed in me at this point. And I couldn't imagine a world where I don't wake up and do it every day. But I think that a little bit of it is genetics, and just how you're hardwired. Not that it can't be trained or taught, and not that, and obviously the friend group you're in influences these things, and over time I think can change it. But someone's just not going to be able to flip a switch and then just start doing a kamikaze approach to building a business. Just like a lot of people try to flip a switch and start bodybuilding and then quit majority of the time. It's just not innate to them. Yeah, I think if you went about it strategically, if you surrounded yourself with fellow like-minded people and, slowly over time switched it. But if you just try to like hardcore do it, you're just going to lose your mind. Weirdly enough, the best thing for my mental health was giving into my innate nature to work. And the most depressed I get is when I try to restrict it. And like, I don't work weekends, or I don't work this day. What's best for me is just to work when I feel like working, and then just not work when I don't, and just have no constraints. Because there are just some nights where I don't want to sleep, and for whatever reason I feel compelled to go all night. Whatever, like, just do it. Do whatever you want is what I tell my working brain. And I just give into it, and I feel that's where I feel the happiest. And then it's typically like, and when I'm really in the grind mode, it'll be like 7 or 8 days, just nonstop going, and then it's like I'll realize like, oh, I need some recharge time, and then go fucking binge a season of anime. People will tell you, don't work weekends, or don't do this, or don't work past this, or blah, blah, I'll give you all these constraints. But for me, and it's unconventional, I just give into it. Yeah, every one of my thumbnails, my face is in the left side, very big. So brand recognition, so just people know. Oh, especially because now that a lot of people copy our videos, it's just nice to everyone else might make thumbnails like this, but this is mine. Yeah. And obviously, we usually over-deliver and do bigger stuff. Unique, 100% unique. You're not the next MrBeast, quote unquote. It feels weird saying that third person, but whatever, is not gonna do what I'm doing better. They're gonna just invent their own lane. Like, you're just not gonna do what I do better than me. I have so many. I literally have the best people in the world working here, and I reinvest everything I make, even to this day. You know what I mean? Like, it's absurd the amount of money I spend on content, and I don't care. I'll just stop sleeping, and I'll just film every hour of the day. Like, you're just not gonna beat me at my own game, and that's fine. You shouldn't. Like, I didn't get where I am by just beating someone else at their own game. I just found my own lane and innovated and adapted. And so, there's a lot of people that do copy me, and it's fine. Whatever, do it, but just know you're not gonna get to where I am doing that. In general, I just see everyone else as collaborators, not competitors. I don't think giving advice and helping other creators do well in any way harms me, and I think it only brings more value to content. Like, I'm going from basically 15-minute short films to sub 1 minute vertical content. It's a whole different just ballpark. And so the first little while I was doing TikTok, it was just kind of figuring out what does MrBeast look like in this short form content. But recently we've really started to catch our stride and come up with some original concepts and figure out how to innovate over there, just like we did on YouTube, because I didn't want it to just be shitty YouTube videos. And so, like, an example is we played The Rock for 100K and rock, paper, scissors, and the loser had to donate 100K to charity. We did we went to random people on a campus, and we offered them. So I said, I'll give you $100 if you fly to Paris and give me a baguette. And then they said no. And then I was like, I'll give you $300 if you fly to Paris and give me a baguette. And I was expecting this person to say no, and it go up to like 10 grand. And he's like, yes. And so he flew to Paris, got a baguette, and brought it back and gave it to me. And that across everything got like 450 million views. And because it's just really cool just to see this random guy get on a plane, spend a day in Paris, and we cut it up real nicely and bring it back. And so we're starting to find just tons of original content over there. No one on short form's doing it. That's the thing. It's like, it's just so funny because like TikTok's been big for a while now, years. And then, as we started to really figure out things on the YouTube channel and get it cranking where I have some free time, we set our sights on TikTok and like, okay, what are people not doing? How do we make it better, put in more effort, make it good? And we did the same thing we did at YouTube, just different over on TikTok, and it worked. And now we're the fastest growing or most followed TikTok account in 2022. And it's just funny that no one else did that. It's just hard. You know, what's actually pretty fascinating, and people who do social media listening to this will probably find this pretty interesting, is picture like the content creation meta 3 years ago versus now, where you can make sub 1 minute vertical content and it go viral on TikTok, it go viral on YouTube Shorts, it go viral on Instagram Reels, it goes viral on Facebook, it goes Reddit. You know, you swipe through vertical content now, and Twitter when you click on a video and you flip through it. So this is actually very weird. This is the first time in the history of, I guess, Western social media that one form of content could actually go super viral on every single platform. It's never been like that before. I can post something on TikTok that will get 100 million views, and then post it on Shorts and it'll get 200 million views, and then post it on Instagram and it get 50 million views. And then, you know, I haven't yet, but you know, you can then turn around and tweet it and it get tens of millions of views, and you can post it on Reddit and it get tens of millions of views, and Facebook and get tens of millions of views. And that just wasn't a thing. 3 years ago, Twitter didn't have, because a lot of you probably don't even know this, but when you tap on a video now and you swipe down, it just turns into TikTok. That wasn't a thing even a year ago. Reddit, that wasn't a thing a year ago. Probably 2 years ago, that wasn't a thing on Instagram. 3 years ago, that wasn't a thing on YouTube, right? With YouTube Shorts. So this is all new. And it's weird. I haven't heard a single person talk about it, but this is the first time where content can actually go viral on every single platform. And you don't have to write or film a video for Facebook, film a 12-minute video for YouTube, film a sub 60-second video for TikTok, write a tweet for Twitter, and post this on Reddit. You can just do the same thing on every platform. What are we up to? Probably like 1,000 videos over 10 million views. Like, we don't ever have a dud. Like, you can call it luck, but I think it can be trained. I counsel YouTubers all the time and show them how to go from getting a couple million views a month to 10 million views a month very easily. Even certain ones, like just one of my friends, like he was just really struggling. And so I just started showing him basically everything I know and just doing like once every week, sometimes once every 2 weeks calls. And he went from $10,000 a month on YouTube to over 400,000 just doing these little counseling calls. And so, I mean, people can make excuses all they want and say it's just luck, or say, you know, well, anyways, I don't even want to quote all the other stuff, but it's just, it is a teachable skill. It's a learnable skill. You can study your way to consistently make viral videos, no matter how small your channel is. Even if you have 0 subscribers, you could, if you actually studied hard enough. And like, basically, if you knew what I knew, and some of these, so I don't sound so arrogant, also like some of these other friends I have that I'd say are the smartest people in the world when it comes to content creation online, if you had the knowledge that was in our heads, you could do it very easily. I see people do it all the time. And what's even more interesting is I go on podcasts and I say everything I know. And these people are also very open. Some of them I know. It's all out there. And a lot of people, instead of just studying that and trying to absorb and apply it in their own way, they're just like, no, it's just luck. You know? But I'm a big believer in, you're either, if your goal is to be like a super successful entrepreneur, you need to either be working or you need to be doing something that decompresses and recharges you so you can work again. If your goal is to be like a really kick-ass entrepreneur. And obviously we're boiling this down to like a very basic thing. And so the things you're doing in your downtime, when you're not working, if it doesn't recharge you, you're screwed. You're just a ticking time bomb waiting to implode. And so you got to like heavily recharge. And like, so like watching, for me, anime or whatever it is, playing a board game, like that is actually kind of crucial to my success, which takes a lot of maturing to come to that conclusion, because I used to be the kind of guy that wanted to work every hour of the day, and I would try to train myself to not need that stuff. And I almost resented like that. I have to do these kinds of things, and it would piss me off because it's not optimal. And I just really want to make content and entertain people. But yeah, as someone who's gone down that road, and you just work every day for 2-3 months straight, and every hour of the day, and then you just a bomb waiting to explode and lose your mind. And the only real sustainable thing is to just like give yourself time to recharge in between working. As a human, I do need to occasionally watch a mindless show and play a board game. Okay, that's something I feel like I actually could give a lot of value to young people who are doing it. Like older people who've built 5 companies or whatever they do. I probably couldn't, they're going to be like, oh, this is so obvious. But for younger first-time business owners, you gotta just experiment, to be honest. And but for us, like it's just a new space. No one had really ever scaled up a 100-person team to make content on YouTube. So there wasn't I spent all this time like I hired one person from Disney at one point to come in and help. And obviously that was a dumb idea looking back on it. But, I thought, oh, they make great stuff people want to watch. And they come over here and help me build a team. And, they build it more the traditional way and not like how it should be online. And so then it's like, okay. And now I'm not trying to trash people. Like they all tried their best. But then I hire this one person who does this different type of media and runs a 100-person team. And then you come in here and they try to build it that way. And they don't really listen to you or value or see the difference. And I tried basically for building this company with like 4 or 5 different people who worked in different veins of media. And, every single time it's just like, they just don't get it. And they don't understand my world. And the eventual solution was just like to roll up my sleeves and do it myself, with like James, my right-hand man, and just like, no one's ever done this, and like no one's gonna just give us a golden carrot and tell us how to build this company. We got to figure it the fuck out ourselves.